And in that song, Millions by Drake. And I really liked that in the song he said, I like the money for sure, but I like the hustle the most. And I could not have resonated with that more, guys. Hello, my loves. Welcome back for another video. You guys absolutely loved my self-isolation video. I was actually kind of surprised. I've made videos similar to that in the past, but I think that the difference in that one was I was currently actually going through my self-isolation and still am. And I wanted to kind of piggyback off that video and do an entire video dedicated to how to detox like a pro. So this type of detox is physical. It has to do with habits and just the direction of your life. This is kind of what I would suggest anyone to do approaching 2024. It's a great way to clear your space, clear your mind, clear your life, and approach the new year with a different set of values, or just kind of embarking on a journey that's a little bit more sustainable and more you. So a lot of detoxing in our life has to do with healing, and healing each component that makes us who we are. So I'm going to be talking about several different things that we can heal today, which essentially is going to be the detox of these things. We're going to be talking about healing your gut, your mind, your relationships with work, conflicts and trauma, and habits. So we're going to conquer all of these subjects today. I have the most broad spectrum of topics today that I've condensed into one video about how to detox like a pro. I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you need to clear your mind, get your life back on track, you want to start healing certain parts of your body because it's just making you sick, whether it's mentally or physically, we are going to get to it today. I have a lot of notes written. I'm so excited to be hanging out with you guys today. And yeah, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you guys like these types of topics from me, and follow me on Instagram. All right, let's just get into today's topic. Okay, let's first talk about healing the gut, the detox of our gut bacteria. When you are on this self-isolation journey, you want to detox your body and you want to start fresh, right? You have to really think about what is causing me pain, discomfort, or just anything that's making you sick, right? So I wrote down the things that I personally have done and have detoxed from. The first way to heal your gut is obviously to drink more water, right? Make it a conscious effort to drink more water in your life and to just have it next to you at all times. Guys, I have it in every single video. I have it in my car. I have it by my bedside table. I make sure that no matter where I go, I have water next to me, and it's been really helping with my detox. Another way that I healed my gut was I limited my alcohol intake. I talked about this in my previous video, but I honestly went sober for a few weeks, and now when I do drink, it's socially, but I limit myself to 1 glass of wine or something that doesn't have too much sugar, because we'll get into that also. But I just did not want alcohol to be the main focal point of me going out. I took myself on a lot of solo dates last year and just even hanging out with girlfriends and doing certain things, and it seemed like alcohol was the center focal point of all of those things. And I wanted to see, okay, what is my life gonna look like if I just remove that particular vice? Do I think that I, am addicted to alcohol in any way? No, I don't. But I think it was becoming a habit that I didn't want to continue with. So I limited my alcohol intake, and let's just say it completely changed my face shape. I had somebody comment on one of my videos that they thought that I had facial balancing, and no, I just lost weight. I lost so much weight that I lost weight in my face. So that really helped, and I think that the leading reason to why is because of my alcohol intake. Next up is to have more sleep. Surprisingly enough, sleeping actually helps with your gut as well. These are things that sometimes we don't realize when we are trying to work towards having a healthier mindset and body. Sleep is important, ladies and gentlemen, not only for your brain function and for your overall mental stability and health, but for your gut as well. It helps with so many different areas of your life, and implementing more sleep in my life has helped me. I was kind of a night owl for a long time. I'd be up till 2, 3 in the morning all the time, and I would also get up really early. So I found that I really had limited sleep, but sleeping more has helped me, and I think has aided even in my weight loss as well. I also started eating more raw foods and fasting. I talked about this in my previous video as well, but a little bit more deeper. I kind of started off on a juice cleanse, right? So I went to a local juice place near my home that has juices that I really like, that have things like beets and apples and celery and carrots in it. And what I tend to do, a lot of you guys ask for my fasting regimen, and I don't really have a specific schedule that I follow. A lot of people follow like the 12-8 or there's a bunch of different fasting numbers. I think think it's like the 16-8, something along those lines. I could be wrong, or 12-12. I don't do any of that, guys. I fast in a way that best fits my lifestyle, and I kind of mimicked my mom's fasting schedule. So in the morning, I will just do water. I will try to do water as long as I can. So I will drink as much water from, the time that I wake up till about 3 o'clock. If, let's just say, I want something different, I will drink a juice, a pressed juice. So something that is natural, and yes, it has sugar, but it's natural sugars and it's healthy for the body. But I try not to eat my first bite of food until like 3 or 4. So I will eat raw foods a lot more. I'm eating a lot of salad, I'm eating peppers, I'm eating celery, I'm eating anything that is raw and does not need to be cooked. This is also something that can be done in a spiritual, biblical fast. A lot of Christians do a fast similar to this, where they only eat raw foods and consume water the whole day. Very difficult to follow, but I have been doing it for about 2 months now, and I've been seeing such a difference. Of course, if I'm like super hungry and I'm gonna die, I'm going to have something to eat, but I haven't felt that, guys. I eat, a good amount of veggies in surplus when I start eating. So I'll have like peppers, cucumbers, things like that. And then for dinner, I'll have soup or lentils or rice, something that is a little bit more lighter, but has protein in it. And I feel really great. So healing your gut is just kind of knowing what has been disrupting your gut. For me, it was carbohydrates, a lot of processed sugars and alcohol. So that was something that I detoxed from. And also, random thing that helps heal your gut, guys, is not doing things that make you super anxious, okay? I don't think a lot of people realize that there's a lot of mind-gut connection, and there are things in our life that can make us anxious or feel uneasy in our stomach that can really affect our gut. And I really would suggest that if you are self-aware of those things, to distance yourself from them. So for me personally, if I'm going through a rough time in my life, or it's a really moody day out and it's kind of disrupting my own work schedule, like let's just say it's rained for 4 days straight, there hasn't been an ounce of sun, and I feel a little bit down and out by day 4, I'm not going to consume a TV show that is going to put me in an even more downward spiral. I have learned that yes, sometimes moody things with moody, vibes can go hand in hand, but not for my anxious people. Sometimes we get a little bit overwhelmed and anxious when we consume things that match the energy that we're living in, and it's not healthy. So I have learned, at least in my own personal experience, to distance myself from things that make me feel anxious. So I'll watch something more positive, or I'll read, or I'll listen to a podcast that uplifts me, and it definitely has helped. And that kind of trickles into my next thing to detox, and it's to heal your mental, anything that has to do with the mind. So the first one I mentioned is a social detox, okay? This right here, as wonderful as it is and as technologically savvy as it can be, it is also the devil in many ways, okay? The phone is a problem. Fun fact about, my personal life is when I was younger and I would be like online bullied from like people from Facebook or Twitter when I was younger. Granted, I was never like severely bullied. Don't get it twisted. I'm not like claiming I'm a victim of any sort. But let's just say I got into it with someone on social media, or someone said something mean about me on the internet. It would ruin my entire day. And I remember my mom used to sometimes punish me. It's not a real punish, but she would take away my phone and my computer. And I remember freaking out, but her way of doing it was saying, if you detox and completely eliminate yourself from this, it's almost as if it doesn't exist. And I know that sounds kind of insensitive to some situations, and I don't want it to come off that way. But sometimes taking a social detox is the best thing you can do for your mental health. So if, let's just say, I'm noticing a lot of discourse on the internet, or, I'm just noticing a lot of negativity, or something is just making me feel unmotivated and not productive, I will completely detach from socials for the day. And in my particular detox and also isolating myself, I have only been using my phone and computer for work. If it's not work related, I am not doing it. I am not consuming as much content as I was before, and I'm not doing anything that is aimless. I'm not aimlessly scrolling, aimlessly watching things. If I watch a video, it's for a purpose. If I'm on social media, it's for work. That is it, that is all, and I feel so much lighter and better. So try that out. Also, just reconnecting with the world. Healing your mental is going outside and touching some grass. A lot of us self-isolate and tend to get in a particular state where we are not as social as we should be, or at least connecting with society as we should be. There's a healthy amount of self-isolation and connection into society that I think we should balance. And for me, what I tend to do to reconnect with the world as someone who works from home and can tend to get very introverted in certain spurts of my life, I will go to the gym. I will socialize with people at the gym. I will go to the coffee shop to work instead of at home. I will do something to connect with the world because it's just very peaceful sometimes. Also, a huge one for healing your mental is to get some daylight. We are approaching the season where if you live in a country or an area of America where you are experiencing, the colder months, seasonal depression is approaching, it's important that we're getting our daylight and consuming some sort of vitamin D. This is just really important in making sure that our mental health is good and clear. Exercise is huge for healing your mental. I used to only want to work out if it pertained to losing weight. That was the correlation that I would always draw, is working out to get skinny, working out to look fit, working out to feel strong. And as much as those things are important, and I think that we should shed light on sometimes wanting things for superficial reasons, I also want to note that exercise is also good for something even deeper than that. It's good for your mind, body, and soul. My mom, being a psychiatrist, she tells all her patients that are depressed, hey, go outside, take a walk, go to the gym. It actually does help and aid with certain things that you're going through. It's not going to necessarily cure it, but it can really help. So exercise is good for healing the mental. Going to bed earlier, I mentioned that before with even healing your gut. It's also good for healing your mind. Unsubscribe and unfollow anything distracting, emails, subscriptions, etc. Go through your phone, see if you're paying for anything that you shouldn't be paying for. Go through your emails, clear it out. We are approaching that new year. It's time for us to start fresh, and clearing all of those things can really do a lot for your mental health, because mental clutter is huge. Yes, there can be physical clutter, clothes on the floor and things, disorganized in our life, but having a disorganized digital situation can also be causing you some sort of uncomfortability. So getting that and attacking that now is super important during your detox phase. Slower living also heals your mental. A lot of us are on, that wired, American time where we are hustle and bustle culture, and slowing down sometimes can really help with a lot. In your detox and self-isolation phase, I really want to stress the importance of finding the beauty in moving in a more healthy pace, not necessarily always needing to do everything right now and moving the Tasmanian devil through a room. It is important that we slow down, we pace ourselves, we relax, and we make sure that we're doing enough activity in the day to feel fulfilled, but also not too much to where we feel overwhelmed. And also, the last thing for healing your mental is to clear your negative thoughts that impact your life today. When we are detoxing from our life and trying to do a self-audit, it is important that we realize that there are some negative qualities that we take in that we don't realize maybe stem from childhood or generational passed down situations, that we are realizing, okay, I am my biggest critic. I am not being productive by saying this about myself. I am not the most positive person when it pertains to X, Y, and Z. And really figuring out what those things are so that you can work on them and heal that part of you. Okay, the next thing that we're gonna be talking about for detoxing is healing your relationship with work. This was big in my own self-isolation journey, and I want to elaborate further. So looking at it as something that you need validation from is always going to be an issue. If your work is making you feel like you need validation, it's a big no-no. And as someone who works in a space, in a creator space, where essentially validation is what gets me paid, this has been quite difficult for my own personal well-being. I have found that my need and approval from you guys is maybe a little bit higher than the person who works in an average situation. Not to say that people who work average 9-to-5s or in any other field doesn't have a form of needing validation, but I think that the difference is I need validation to be paid. My best way of detaching from that is realizing that that is the inevitable, but still detaching my mind from that. So I put content out not to be necessarily, reaching a number goal or whatever, but because I like it. And that has been the difference and key factor in moving me forward in a detoxing phase that helped heal my relationship with work. Also, doing my best always. That has been huge for me. In life, I used to to think that doing something at least was better than doing nothing. And although at times it can be, I have been wanting to do better than just something. And for me, doing my best always has made me feel good. Now, doing my best doesn't mean that it's always perfect, but it's me doing my very best. And that is all we can do. So kind of reminding yourself that healing your relationship with work is, if I did my best, that should be good enough. Period, end of story. Also, just being passion driven. This is huge for me. If I'm not passionate in a certain thing that I'm doing, or it's not really giving me a purpose, I won't do it anymore. I don't feel like it's conducive for my life. And I have completely healed myself in the sense of needing to do something for any other reason other than it giving me life. I want to sit down and film for you guys happily and excited and super just like wanting to discuss a certain topic like today. I'm very excited to discuss today's topic and I'm very passionate about it. Realizing that there's a build to certain things and you can't have everything all at once. This is huge, guys. I really love this saying of you can really have it all, but sometimes you just can't have it all at once. That really helped me with my relationship with so many things, including my relationship with work. There are so many milestones that I have reached in my career, and I have found that they are all very equally important. They just didn't all happen at once. And honestly, I wouldn't necessarily want that. I read something the other day that actually felt like it healed my inner child, and honestly, it healed my adult self as well. And it said that slow success builds character and fast success builds ego. And although, sometimes we can compare ourselves to other people and say, oh, I wish I was more ahead in life and I wish I did this and I wish I did that. You don't really necessarily know the struggle of each person. You can find someone who blew up overnight, and that could be very detrimental to their career in some way, because keeping up with that has always been difficult for those people. And I've seen it, in certain creators that I, once saw being like at the peak of their career, and it kind of, hurt them. Not to say that anybody's success is linear and that all things are the exact same. I'm not saying that. But from my own personal standpoint, what really has helped me is realizing that I have always been slow to success. And it has built character in me. And I don't know if I would have appreciated my success as much had it been overnight. I just don't think so. I think that what the journey has provided me has always been important to me. And in that song, Pussy and Millions by Drake. And I really liked that in the song he said, I like the money for sure, but I like the hustle the most. And I could not have resonated with that more, guys. Like, it is so true. Like, the hustle is what did it for me. So back to what I was saying, there is a certain build to things in life and we can't have it all at once. Heal your relationship with work by giving yourself the time to do those things. Also realizing that 5% of success is brains and 95% is consistency. If you're consistent and you keep going on and you keep doing things, whether you're failing at it or getting better at it or improving in some way, you're still doing something. Just be consistent. And non-striving is also necessary, which essentially means that in certain chapters of your life, you're not going to necessarily be always grinding and building. Okay, being present and not attempting to change anything at this moment sometimes is also important. If you're in your self-isolation period right now and you don't feel compelled to improve, work-wise, financially, whatever, but you feel compelled to improve other things, please do that. There is so much power in your present, and non-striving is still necessary because you don't want to get burnt out, you don't want to overachieve, and you don't want to build everything all in one day. Establishing a work-life balance is always going to be key to happiness and just detoxing your entire life in this regard. So I hope that I cleared up some of those things. Now we're going to get into the detox of healing how you handle conflict. This is like a super random one, but I actually think that it can really help you guys with your detox phase, because if we're detoxing our life, right, like a pro, we're doing our mind, we're doing our body, we're doing our soul, we're even dealing with our character and how we move through life as adults and sound adults at that. So healing how you handle conflict. So the first thing that I've done is I sleep on it. I'm always the most passionate and the most angry in the moment. It never is just as bad the next day. Sleeping on it will actually change how you move through life when it pertains to things like this. And that's not to say that certain things are not going to keep making you angry, because things do make me angry at times, okay? I will see something and not like it and be really upset in the moment, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Time really does heal all wounds, and surrounding yourself with family, friends, and just better and positive vibes will always help you. Emotional intelligence will also help you heal how you handle with conflict. So essentially not having outbursts that are, happening to minor things. Understanding that certain emotions should match the thing that we're being emotional about. If we're being psychotic and crazy over something minuscule, you have to really heal and do the inner work. Why are you so worked up? What is really causing the issue? And I have found that my reactionary time and how I respond to things has been different in this detox. Also, detaching from things that are not worth fighting for. People will always misunderstand you if they want to. Let's just say somebody has already decided yesterday that they do not like you and that they will do nothing in their power to see your side in anything. How can you convince them to change their mind? Well, you can't. There's just certain things not worth fighting for. And I have found that even in my career and being semi in the public eye or just having a little bit of a light shined on my life a little bit more, that I will not have everyone like me. And I really like this saying I heard from like a pastor saying that Jesus was still Jesus. And the Jews and the Gentiles felt differently about him. But at the end of the day, he was still Jesus. And it really was so pivotal hearing that for me, because I'm like, wow, it's so true. Like, you can be the same person and two people can feel differently about that. Two people can feel completely different things about how you move through life. You ever see someone on TV and say, how could anyone like her? She is such a bitch. But she very much does have a friend. She very much does have people in her life. Certain people feel certain ways about different things, and that's just life. So like I said, detaching from things that are not worth fighting for is also realizing that people will misunderstand you, people will not like you, and that's okay. Coming to an understanding about people and their differences. My favorite thing about being a free thinker is realizing that I can very much like someone and still not like some of the things that they say. And social media has made it to be a really weird place where you have to pick sides and you have to be definitive in how you feel. And listen, I do believe in standing for something. If you stand for nothing, you fall for everything, and I stand by that. But in my particular life, I once was very definitive. And I would not like someone if 95 of the things that they said I liked, but one thing that they said I didn't like. I no longer am that person. I realize now that the beauty of life is realizing that people are going to have differences than you. You're not going to agree with something that everyone says, and you're not going to agree with, maybe a few things that your friends, family, or whoever. That's okay. Healing how you handle conflict is realizing that people are allowed to be different than you. That also is something that they should reciprocate. So if you're dealing with someone who chooses to misunderstand you and chooses to not like you because you're different, you can detach from that as well. But I think there's so much beauty in handling conflict by realizing that people are different. As long as their core values and morals are not preposterous, it's okay, right? And sometimes it's okay to suffer in private sometimes. Now, of course, I'm not telling you to not call a therapist or speak to a family member. There's just some things that you don't need to bring to the internet. And suffering in private sometimes allows you to reflect positively on the experience and grow from it. I have found that life isn't fair. It really isn't. Life is not fair, and we are not going to all agree on things. And I have spent the majority of my time here on YouTube keeping my private matters to myself. I share with you guys a great amount. I think that I'm, quite open with you, but my private matters I keep to myself because they're my private matters. And it's okay to suffer in private sometimes. I think that once you open up the doors and the floodgates to public opinion, you can't really take it back, and that's just life. And I just think that handling conflict or just handling your emotions is realizing that some of them are best kept to you and some of them are meant to be shared. And you have to be able to discern which one you want to do and which one you don't. And the next thing is healing your habits that bother you and improving your habits. And this is the ultimate detox of all, guys. And if you don't wake up early and you put things off constantly and you choose not to educate yourself, now's the time to fix that, okay? Let's detox our brain by saying we are no longer in this scarcity mindset. We are not going to move only as far as we've already learned. I think that there is so much power in continuously learning and continuously growing and being able to do that self-audit and say, you know what? Let me at least try something out. Let me wake up early every day for a week and see what it does for me. If I see no results, if I see no help, if I see not 1 ounce of improvement, then I'll go back to how I was living before. But how can you really know if you've never tried, right? I challenge you to conquer some of your bad habits in this detox. I would suggest that whatever it is that you've been putting off, that you've been ignoring, and that you maybe thought would work, but you just haven't tried it yet, now's the time to try it. So exercising or body movement, making hard decisions, at times over easy ones. So a huge one, and I wrote this down, hard decisions over easy ones. So like watching TV is an easy decision, but reading instead of it is a hard one. Drinking alcohol at dinner is an easy decision versus drinking water when everyone else is drinking alcohol is a hard decision. Avoidance of tough conversations is easier than tough conversations in general. These are things that I challenge you to think about and to really reflect on in this journey. And hey, it's whatever you are willing to work on. For me, those were the things that were big for me. And I am still challenging myself every day. I think that my own personal mission and goal is sacred to myself, but what I will share with you guys is this. The self-improvement will never stop. The constant evolution of my looks, my mind, and my power will never stop. And me just bettering myself to be a more sound individual that is the most self-actualized version of myself will also just keep continuing. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video and you found some comfort, peace, and knowledge in it. Let me know down below how you guys are detoxing, and sorry about my voice. I lost my voice at Beyonce in July, and it comes and goes every now and again. I apologize for it, but I love you guys so much. Don't forget this video a big thumbs up if you haven't already, and subscribe down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye everyone. Mwah.